Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really powerful academic paper that unpacks Kamila Shamsie'S incredible novel, Home Fire. We're going to explore the tough questions it raises about identity, belonging, and politics for the Muslim diaspora. The novel and the research we're looking at really forces us to ask this one huge question. In a world that's so full of suspicion, what is the actual price of belonging? What do you have to give up? Okay, so here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at the study itself. Then we'll get into the main conflict of the novel, meet the characters, explore the politics, and wrap up with the paper's final conclusions. Right, so what's this research all about? Well, it gives us a whole new way to look at the Muslim diaspora experience in the West, as shown in the novel.
The study is titled The Muslim Diaspora'S Nationalism and Identity in Kamila Shamsie'S Home Fire. And what's really cool is its approach. It combines social theory with psychology. This gives us this unique toolkit to get inside the characters' heads and really understand what's driving them.
So what the paper really sets out to do is fill a significant research gap. It uses that fresh social and psychological lens to dig into why characters make the choices they do, from assimilation all the way to radicalization. And it ends with a pretty bold recommendation for how we should even be talking about these things. Okay, first things first, the paper draws a really important line between two ideas. You have a country that's a political state with borders and laws, but then you have a nation, like the Islamic Ummah, which is a community bound by faith that stretches across the entire globe. And this distinction, it's absolutely everything for understanding the loyalty conflicts in the story. And that leads us right into the central conflict. The paper argues that the characters in this novel are basically trapped in this impossible no-win situation. This quote just lays it out perfectly. The dilemma is, either you completely erase your past and assimilate, or you risk being seen as a threat. The novel makes it clear that there's really no middle ground offered, no room to just be both British and Muslim without being under constant suspicion. So how does this impossible choice actually play out for people? Well, the paper follows four main characters, and each one takes a totally different and ultimately tragic path. First, you've got the two sisters. Isma. She chooses compliance. Her bet is that if she works with the system, proves her loyalty, she can keep her family safe. But her twin sister, Anika, goes the complete opposite route, defiance. She fights the system head-on because she sees it as unjust, and for her, family and faith come before the laws of the state. And you see with Isma's path, it doesn't really work out. The paper points to this scene where she's detained at an airport, getting grilled on these incredibly detailed religious points. It just shows that even when you play by all the rules, you're still seen as a suspect. Then you have the two male figures in the story. There's Karmat Lone, a super powerful politician who goes all in on assimilation. I mean, he basically erases his own heritage to fit in. And on the other extreme, you've got Parvez, the brother. He feels so pushed out by the West that he looks for belonging somewhere else and finds it in the arms of ISIS recruiters. This quote about Karamat just nails it, doesn't it? He's the Home Secretary, one of the most powerful people in the country, but he's perpetually seen as an outsider. He's always having to prove he's one of them, not one of us. Okay, so let's zoom out, because this isn't just about the choices of a few characters. The novel and this analysis is really taking a hard look at the larger political systems they're all trapped in. And this brings us to a really uncomfortable question, one the novel is not afraid to ask. Who gets to decide what counts as terrorism? The paper highlights this glaring double standard that the novel points out. Look at this comparison. On one side, you have state actions, drone strikes, revoking citizenship, often justified as national security. On the other side, you have individual actions, which are immediately branded as terrorism. The analysis really questions if there's a moral difference here, even suggesting one might be a form of state terrorism. So, where does all this leave us? Well, the paper's conclusion is where it all comes together, and it has something to say not just about the book, but about how we talk about these things in the real world. What this study really uncovers is this tragic, vicious cycle. It starts with prejudice, which can push vulnerable people towards extremism. But then, the state's hardline response often just slams the door on any chance for them to come back, completely ignoring the power of family to pull someone back from the edge. And this leads to the paper's final and maybe most important recommendation. It argues that a lot of the discussion around these topics is just too aggressive, too biased. It calls for a more moderate, neutral approach, a discourse that's calm, objective, and tries to actually understand, instead of just rushing to condemn. And hey, a quick note for all the researchers watching, this paper we've been talking about is published in a Scopus-indexed open access journal. This is huge because it means you can access it for free. The link is right there in the description for you to download and cite. It can add some real value to any related research. So we're left with this one last lingering thought. The novel, and this amazing analysis of it, really challenges us to think, if a society says you can belong, but only if you erase a part of who you are, is that really belonging at all?